Have you ever struggled to describe a person to someone else? It can be a little difficult to find the right words to convey their physical appearance, their personal traits, the personality, and the relationship with you. But don't worry, this is where I come in. My name is Japneet. Let's get started. Before we get started, I want you to know 3 things. This entire video I've summarized in a PDF, which is available in the description below. And the best learning is done through taking notes. So I would recommend you pause the video, grab a notebook, and write some of these notes down. You will learn a lot more. And finally, if you haven't already done so, start yourself a vocabulary notebook. That will really help you out. So when we look at this cue card, describe a childhood friend. There are 4 prompts that come with this. Number 1 is who this person is. Number 2, how you became friends with this person. Number 3, what kind of things you like to do with this person. And finally, explain why you like him or her. So you can create an entire story around these 4 points if you like, or you can skip them all together. That I'll leave up to you because it's an easy part to do. But the tricky part is having the details. That's right, devil is in the details. What remains true and what you really need to do is give specific details, use descriptive language, be logical and easily understood, be fluent, and finally stay on topic. So no rambling, staying on topic, and being precise. You have to do these 5 things if you want to score 9 band. So for the cue card, describe a childhood friend, this is the answer framework that I would recommend. Start with introducing your childhood friend by giving their name and a brief overview of how you met. Describe your friend's physical appearance, what they look like, their age, their height, things like that. Follow that up with describing the personality of your friend. Tell about their personality traits. And then you can describe your relationship with the friend, including how often you saw each other and how did you become friends, things like that. Finally, what I want you to really focus on is reflecting on the impact this friendship has had on you. How did the person change you? What would have happened if you were not friends? Talk about that because that would really add a layer and paint a better picture of your relationship. And finally, conclude by stating why your childhood friend is still important in your life and why you value this relationship. So that's how I would go about framing this answer. So now you know the framework, but what I want you to take away from this video is the details that you have to add. So first of all, let's start with describing physical appearances. When it comes to physical appearances, start with the basics. Talk about what the height is, what their weight is, and the general body type. Here's an example. She is about 5 feet 6 inches tall and has a slender build. She moves gracefully and stands up straight, with her shoulders back and head held high. See? That paints a picture of what the person actually looks like. So talk about that. There can be multiple body types. Here, let's look at a few. A slender body type is thin and lean with little visible muscle mass. Athletic body build is toned and fit with muscles. And then average body type is neither thin nor overweight. They are just about average. Now let's talk about postures. There can be a lot of different postures. First one, upright. So this is where the person is standing upright with their shoulders back and head held high. This posture is confident and assertive, or someone could have a relaxed posture. A relaxed posture is when the person stands or sits in a casual and more comfortable position. The shoulders are usually loose and they're just relaxed. Next, once you've described what the body looks like, you have to talk about what the face actually looks like. Now, when you have to describe facial features, here's an example. She has big, bright green eyes that sparkle with intelligence and humor. Her nose is small and slightly upturned, and her mouth is full and expressive. She has long, curly blonde hair that falls in soft waves down her back. See? That's very expressive. And this is how your answers should be when you're talking in your IELTS exam, so that you get the higher points. Now, let me show you how you can describe facial features. Let's start with the eyes. They say eyes are the windows to the soul, and I truly believe they are. This is how you can talk about eyes. Eyes can be big, small, round, or narrow. Finally, they can be almond-shaped or just round. Eyes come in different shapes as well, so talk about that. And talk about what the color is. Are they dark, are they light, or are they bright? So talk about the color, talk about the intensity of the color of the eyes. These are some details that you can add when you're talking about eyes. Now let's talk about the nose. Nose is a very prominent feature on a face and very hard to miss. This is how you can talk about qualities of a nose. It could be long, short, or medium. It could be wide, narrow, or slender. So these are some words, vocabulary that you can use when you're describing noses. See, it'll add a lot more to your answer. Now let's talk about mouth. See, mouth is a key feature of a face, and it can be expressive and it can change shapes. This is how you can describe the mouth. It could be full, it could be thin, or it could be medium, or the mouth might be wide or narrow or curved. So there you go. Certain variations of the mouth that you can talk about. So certainly use them in your answer. Now let's move on to some unique physical characteristics that someone might have. Here's an example for you. She has a small tattoo of a rose on her wrist and a piercing in her nose. She has a radiant, youthful complexion with a hint of freckles scattered across her nose and cheeks. She has a distinctive birthmark on her left cheek in the shape of a heart. So that adds a story. And this is, some of the vocabulary that you can use to make an answer just like that. Start with talking about if they might have any tattoos. Talk about what the size and the design of the tattoo is, if it's color or if it's just like a regular flat tattoo. Then you can move on to the piercings that they might have. Someone might have a piercing in the nose or in the ears or maybe somewhere on the mouth. You can talk about that. And you can talk about birthmarks. Some people might have a birthmark on their face, on their arms, on their hands. Some distinctive qualities if you find them interesting. Speak about that. Now let's move on to the personality of a person. See, personality traits are the characteristics that make up a personality of a person. They can be negative, positive, or neutral personality traits. And this is how you can talk about them. My friend is an incredibly kind and compassionate person, always putting others before herself and going out of her way to help those in need. She is also incredibly honest and reliable, always keeping her word and staying true to her values. On top of that, she is confident and self-assured, never letting fear or doubts hold her back. She truly embodies the qualities of courage, kindness, and honesty. So tell a story like that. Describe them as a person. And these are the words that you can use to do that. When you're looking at positive traits, these are the positive values that a person might have. A person could have kindness, compassion, and empathy, or they could be honest and have a lot of integrity and very loyal, so hence they have loyalty. And finally, you can also talk about how your friend might have a lot of courage, determination, and perseverance. Now let's move on to talk about interests that your friend might have. So interests are things or activities that a person might enjoy learning about or doing them. And there are different ways to describe interest. It could be fascinating. Someone could be fascinated by something. They might have an interest that is very intriguing or captivating as well. Your friend might even have a diverse set of interests, or their interests are very varied. Or maybe your friend is very profoundly moved by, a certain activity and they would like to do that. Now, let's talk about experiences. Memorable experiences, they stay with us for a long, long time, even after they've gone. And it's important that we describe them as such because it gives a bit more color to the painting here. So if an experience is exciting, where there's a lot of energy involved, this is how you can describe them. An experience could be thrilling, you had a lot of fun. Or it could be exhilarating. Maybe you went on a roller coaster ride with your friend and it was an exhilarating experience for you. Or maybe it's even heart pumping. Talk about it as such. Or maybe, you went skydiving with your friend and it was adventurous or very daring or even risky. Or it could also be that, you went for this amazing hike with your friend and it was unforgettable. You couldn't quite forget that moment together and it was very unique or even extraordinary. So use these words in your vocabulary to describe something. Now, let's look at how you can describe relationships with your friends. Here's an example for you. My relationship with my friend is one of the closest and deep bonds I have ever experienced. From the moment we met, I knew that there was something special and unique about our connection. We have an understanding and trust that is unshakable, and we have always been there for each other through the highs and the lows. If you have a very close relationship with a friend, this is how you can talk about it. It could be strong, deep, or even a close relationship that you have with a friend. Or maybe you are so trusting of a friend that you don't think anyone else can do that for you. Or maybe the understanding between you and your friend is to such great depths that you have never experienced it with someone else. Or maybe your friend is just very supportive of you, and it's a very supportive relationship for you. Now let's look at how we can describe the impact of a relationship in our lives. A relationship could have a transformative impact on you. They could have totally changed how you view the world after going through them. And you can say this relationship is life-changing, transformative, or you even had some sort of an awakening. Or you could say that moment in time was very pivotal for you, because prior to that, you didn't look at the world as such. Another word you can use here is critical or crucial. This is to say that this experience, the impact that you had on your life, it made a big difference. Now let's look at some meaningful impacts that you might have had in your life. This is how you can describe meaningful impacts. It could have a deep, significant impact on your personal life after having lost your friend, or having experienced that time with your friend was the most powerful thing that ever happened to you because it totally changed your personality. So there you go. Now you've been armed with all the information and details about how you can describe someone. I hope you liked the video. If you know someone who might be struggling with describing someone else, share this video with them. See you in the next video.